I was born in Cape Town in, what am I now, 42, so 1978, and grew up in Cape Town and went, when I was 17, moved to London to study. I did this I was supposed to go to kind of normal art school, that's what I had in mind, and then ended up, through my father, knowing these amazing group of men and women. I did a 6-year apprenticeship essentially in London, and they put us through these, it was a combination of a spiritual and technical training where, we would look at, for example, the Italian Renaissance, and we'd learn the techniques of the Renaissance, and then at the same time be reading Marsilio Ficino and studying Plato. And the same goes for the Egyptian works and the Greeks and so on. And it essentially ended in kind of 1890. That's where our training kind of dropped us off. So when I finished that, I had to figure out the rest, contemporary art and conceptual art and so on. I had to kind of feel my way into that. One constant was this passion for alchemy, this idea, on the one hand, to make my own paint and to grind my own rocks, and I would climb mountains, get the rocks from the mountains, grind them, make paintings of the mountain, with the mountain, and then on the other hand, the idea of alchemy being this transformation of an ordinary substance into something sacred or holy. So those two themes kept me going for a while. The simplest way of putting it is that I feel I'm painting from instinct rather than thought. So, and there are 2 or 3 themes, you could call them areas of inquiry or stages upon which this act happens. It's a process which could be simply defined as just turning up, turning up for work. I suppose I have different ways of approaching the wild beast, or the muse, or whatever you want to call it. I have some strategies which really help. One is the rolling. I roll a dice every morning. If I roll a 1, it means proceed with caution. If I roll a 6, it means go all out. And anything in between, you just roll again. And it's a silly trick or simple trick, but it helps me navigate that. What's today going to be? It's more an attitude to the day. How important is ritual to me? That's a great question. It's fundamental. Yeah, I mean, ritual. It's the right word as well. I feel like whatever I do in the studio is a kind of ritual. The essence of a ritual is that you are performing some kind of supplication or devotion towards something, and that is how I feel when I'm making work. It's like I submit myself to this process, and I give everything, and what comes of that is the work. But the ritual, the actual performance, I look a lot at artists like Joseph Beuys, for example, where great inspiration to me, where his work is evident in what he left behind. His work was his life, and I feel very much the same. The work that I'm actually doing is the life, which is one great ritual. I also quite like the absurdity of rituals. There's something kind of beautifully comic about, a ritual. You get dressed up, you light some weird funny candle, you walk up a hill. And I think Monty Python had it beautifully, We're all kind of silly, so we may as well be more silly, we may as well embrace that. And the theatre of ritual is a really good place to channel that.